Breaking news tonight. Local feline declared the bathroom sink a sovereign nation. Sources say he's demanding treats for diplomatic talks and bathroom privacy. More on this developing story after the break. Tonight on Story Spotlight, anterior pituitary gland. From growth to reproductive control, this powerhouse keeps our bodies in balance. Let's get on to learning more about this mighty structure. The pituitary gland, also commonly known as the master gland, is found within the hypothalamus and is responsible for many important bodily functions by producing and secreting chemical messengers called hormones. Although the pituitary gland is distinguished into two glands, our focus will be on the adenohypophysis, or the anterior pituitary gland. The anterior pituitary gland secretes 7 of the total 9 hormones found in the pituitary gland via a negative feedback system, stimulated by the hypothalamus. The posterior pituitary gland secretes the other 2. The hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary gland will be discussed in detail as we continue through this video. A good way to remember all the hormones in the anterior pituitary gland is flag top, follicle-stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, growth hormone, thyroid-stimulating hormone, melanocyte-stimulating hormone, and prolactin. Growth hormones promote body growth in young animals by regulating a cat's metabolism. It is also known as somatotropin. GH is found in higher levels as cats are growing to their maximum adult size, but once the animal reaches adulthood, GH levels are decreased but still help with lean muscle development by encouraging protein synthesis in the background. However, a growth hormone hypersecretion in cats can lead to secondary diseases, such as diabetes mellitus or acromegaly, in which tumors are found in the anterior pituitary gland in adult cats. Here is an image of how excess growth hormone can appear on a cat. The thyrotropic hormone promotes growth and development of the thyroid gland and its associated hormones, such as T3, T4, and calcitonin. T3 and T4 regulate and increase the metabolic rate of all body cells during an animal's exposure to the cold. Calcitonin in cats maintains blood calcium levels by pulling excess calcium deposits into bone and is involved in muscle contractions. Although calcium is an essential mineral, a cat's calcium level must be closely regulated to prevent impaired heart function and chronic gastrointestinal issues associated with high calcium levels. Even mild hypercalcemia will result in neuromuscular issues such as muscle tremors or twitching. The adrenocorticotropic hormone promotes growth and development of adrenocortex. Quick ACTH release by hypothalamus stimulation controls an animal's fight or flight response. Hyperadrenocorticism, also known as Cushing disease, or hypoadrenocorticism, known as Addison's disease, is diagnosed through an ACTH simulation test. In this test, a baseline blood sample is taken, and a second blood sample is taken hours after a cat is given an injection of ACTH to examine cortisol levels. Here's a diagram to show how this test works. In addition, the adrenocortex is associated with minimal production of sex hormones and regulation of electrolytes in the body. Follicle-stimulating hormone stimulates the growth and development of ovaries and testes. In females, FSH promotes oogenesis, growth, and development of ovarian follicles. It also stimulates the ovary to produce and secrete estrogen. In males, FSH stimulates spermogenesis. Luteinizing hormone stimulates the growth and development of ovaries and testes. In females, it is affected by the estrogen feedback loop. An increase of estrogen reduces FSH and increases LH. When LH reaches its peak at follicle maturity, it causes ovulation. Any empty follicles multiply and develop into the corpus luteum, which is responsible for producing hormones to maintain pregnancy, like progestin. In males, LH stimulates cells in testes to develop and produce testosterone. Prolactin has a large influence on reproductive functions in cats. It triggers and maintains lactation. In a pregnant queen, prolactin release increases at day 35 and peaks at about day 50 of gestation to term. However, it does not necessarily result in release of milk because its release is dependent on stimulation after parturition, such as from the suckling motion of a queen's mammary tissue by kittens. No stimulation causes drying up. Think of it like you're buying milk and storing it in the fridge until you open the fridge to drink it. Melanocyte-stimulating hormone is responsible for color changes via pigment cells in reptiles, fish, and amphibians. Color changes can adapt to the environment. Interestingly, artificial administration of MSH can cause the darkening of the skin. As you can see, the anterior pituitary gland is responsible for so many things, from growth in body cells to influencing lactation. I hope you were able to learn and recall these important functions. Good luck and thank you.